You know, usually I would come in here with the intro, which happened, but you would also kind of have me following it up with a nice little quippy sentence to get the ball rolling. I am convinced. I am honestly convinced. The man knows something. Tabata, like the man knows what the hell's going on, and it makes you think. Because when you see what happens, it's like, holy shit! It adds a new layer of meaning, of perspective, and that's the state I'm in right now. That is honestly the state I am in right now. When it comes to this recent chapter. Hey guys, what's up? Lucky Cheese 7 is here today, coming with you with another Black Clover podcast immediately right after the one that was just posted up. And it is actually really reassuring. It is actually really reassuring getting the feedback that we do get, although it's been kind of low as of recent, but helps us with the support. And again, last chapter was crazy. This chapter, at first, it's like, alright, it's cool. But then you get to the end and it's like, whoa, okay. I know doing these podcasts, I can't really do them by myself. Yes, I could technically, but what fun would that be? What fun would it be just to have me here, like every other YouTuber, talking about a series, when I could just do that with a buddy, with a friend? So, I've brought with me a special friend and a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings, it is I again. And yes, as Lucky Chi pointed out, it's one crazy chapter after another. Wow, this is one way to come back after a break. I mean, granted, we did the podcast not too long ago, actually, like last week for around the same time or similar to the same time, but nevertheless, we are back with a new chapter, and all my predictions completely gone wrong because it didn't happen at not one bit. If you heard the last podcast, I did predict that we were supposed to have like a gathering and maybe there would be more focus on what's going on with the devil, Yami, and so on. But instead, we got something very much a different turn, but in a very interesting turn. And I just realized that I am so amazed by this chapter, I forgot to introduce myself properly. It is I, Sparda3g, and yes, it's good to be back again. So, wow.
Yeah, just to give my 2 cents on my predictions from the last podcast, I was wrong too, because I thought, alright, we're going to get everyone, we're going to get the gathering, it's going to be this big badass shot, Nozel being like, Magic Knights, attack. I'd be like, okay, shit, we're in. But instead, Tabata's like, they're expecting this. What's the one way I can throw them off? Not really pull the rug under them, but be like, the one thing they wouldn't expect. What is that you might wonder? Well, let us just go ahead and dive right into the chapter, actually. Which I didn't actually read the title. Actually, it makes a lot of sense when I think about the chapter overall. So the title is Closing Wish. And we're seeing Nero, quote unquote, and the first Magic Emperor traveling into the Shadow Palace. And you're just kind of thinking, okay, so we're going to go straight there. Instead, we have Nero monologuing, we won't let it happen ever again. No more repeats of such an incident. And then the chapter decides to rewind time, basically go into flashback territory. 500 years in the past. Whoa. So, yeah, memories come flooding back of the beginning of the legend and revenge. Sparta, I want to get your thoughts on this. So, given how immediately from the first page we were traveling back 500 years, what did you initially think?
Well, when I started reading the chapter, my mindset is like, okay, first of all, they're gonna go all the way to where the devil is at. That's fine. We're gonna see them, and probably Nero is good. She's gonna be like, okay, we're not gonna repeat the same tragic event ever again. So I'm thinking like, okay, so now we're gonna transition to where the devil is at, and he's still dominating the field. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing 500 years ago. Like, whoa, what? Oh, it's a flashback. Is this going to be in the entire chapter? Because I'll be fine with that. And sure enough, it is. But I didn't complain. I'm not like, oh man, why you focus so much on flashback? I want to see what happened. Now, yes, I do want to see what happens next in the present time, but the flashback, the backstory tends to help a lot to reinforce the event that's going on right now. Since, well, yeah, we got the devil. All the world depends on this faithful battle, sure, but it's always more interesting when you add more ground to it, especially when you're answering questions that fans been speculating, questioning all these time from the break, especially with Nero, who is still a mystery. When you look at the next page after the 500 years ago, where it pretty much transitions to the flashback, Nero doesn't have her horn. So immediately I
Yeah,
grew
I was gonna point
interest.
that out. Yeah, I was like, okay, because I remember when her first appearance came up in the last chapter. I was like, all right, so she has horns. But since we're seeing this, I'm like, she doesn't have her horns.
Exactly. At first I thought it was an art error, but throughout the entire chapter, she doesn't have a horn at all. So therefore, something must have happened. And that will only mean that she's pretty much a human before that whole demon shows up. So that's the best of such I get. Unless she's been hiding, but I doubt it because the way how she introduced herself, she's pretty much a normal person who ends up being a servant because, well, she's practically useless according to the nobles. They think she's useless. She can only open and close things, which sounds it does sound pointless when you read it like that. But of course, it can be useful. And the fact that you got through that portal in the present time, that goes to show you that everybody is essential to anything, which I like about Black Clover, the series itself, because they don't really leave out the character behind. Be like, oh, that power is pretty cool, but I got that power too. It's not like that. It's more like, oh, that power is really useful. That will actually help me out in this battle, or that will actually help me out in this criteria. So this type of things always amuse me. But it is interesting that Nero did start off as a nobody, according to the nobles, of course, and pretty much become appointed as a servant to the prince because this is around the time where the first Wizard King wasn't exactly the king yet, so makes sense to
Oh,
me. What's interesting is that she clearly was annoyed by the people that she's been working with because we all know the noblemen are pretty much jackasses even in the present time. Well,
oh,
I mean,
for
that's the
sure.
reason why. That's the reason why Nero. She's all like, "What kind of snob that he's going to be like?" She's referring to the prince, only to see the prince is pretty much Julius. I can't say 2.0 because this is the flashback. So Julius prequel. I don't know. Julius point one,
The pre-Julius.
Julius alpha, Julius beta. but
Julius.
but seriously. But yeah, that's the idea is that the first Wizard King is actually a pretty nerdy on the magic thing. So yeah, he's like Julius. I guess when you're a Wizard King, you got to be a huge nerd of magic, which is ironic because one day when Asta takes the throne, he has no magic.
Nope.
So that's going to be the very ironic twist. But I'm waiting to accept that one. That should be funny to see one day if that ever comes. But yeah, I like this startup because again, it didn't need to go too exposition on like their character. Like you really get the idea from like their from the narration dialogue and just a glimpse of the first Wizard King with all the magic stuff and his enthusiasm for magic. It's like, oh, what kind of magic do you wield? It's like I've been doing tools. I've been making tools. We're gonna be doing a lot of research, ancient magic research. It just already tells you everything you need to know without going overboard on the demonstration. And I like that. All it takes is one page to give me the idea of these two personality.
Oh yeah, for certain. Like it doesn't take up like 5 pages of like going super in depth. It's like I'm sure you could simplify it, which is exactly what happens. It is really cool to see Nero's point of view in terms of her magic, and with her opening and closing things. And even though she was kind of deemed worthless as a nobody, it did kind of make me go like, "Wow!" Like off the gate, I could already see what kind of person Nero was, how she was treated, and why she kind of ultimately showcases a emotionless face because she's just like, well, people talk shit, so why the fuck should I care? It's ultimately kind of like what she's showcasing, and when she's thinking about the prince, it's like, all right, you know what? Here we go. Well, let me just see what this guy's gonna do. And when she sees his personality, like it throws her off. She's like, wow, I was not expecting that. And speaking of Nero, this is something I said last week, which was we don't know her real name. And that's something we actually do find out in the chapter, which I might butcher this. So,
Don't
it's
worry, I'll butcher too if I try.
okay, so if I'm really looking at it, it's like secret, but you're taking out the T. So I want to say secret. I think that's how you're. I think that's how it is. I think so because you've got
I
the first
I
wizard.
think that's how you say it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you get the prince going like, "Hi, welcome there. You must be secret, right?" Like, sorry for the mess. I'm in the middle of researching ancient magic right now. Like, by the way, what kind of magic do you will? Kind of going off from what you described. And well, he doesn't have like the same glowy eyes that Julius does, but if he did, could you imagine?
Oh, well, I
It would be funny,
mean, like
actually.
he has sparks. He has sparkles. That's the closest you can get. He
That's
has
true.
sparkles outside of him. It's like, what? Silly magic? What is that? I never heard of it before. A rarity. Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it completely throws her off. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I wonder how it can be used. Just thinking about it, it gets me excited. And she's like, magic that opens, closes things like a key is just crude. Not at all. You mustn't close your eyes to possibilities. And she's like, please don't act like you just said something smart. Huh? Also, your clothes are weird. What? But I made them myself. Do you think they're cool? Don't you think they're cool? Yeah. Um, Even he's like, yeah, I'm currently making some magic tools. Your magic would definitely be useful. I'm positive of that. Can you also infuse magic into objects? And she's just like, they could, I guess.
Sure. Sure, let's go with that.
Like, yeah. There's like magic tool inventions created for those less blessed with mana or magic attribute to push for a more equal society. Again, what I like that the bot is doing is that we're not going like exactly page by page within the day. We're like seeing different moments throughout the flashback on this page where you've got Secre kind of thinking the prince was extremely different than I imagined him. His progressive attitude caused him to fall out of favor with some of his family, but he never worried about it and continued to pursue his ideals. He was a straightforward and strong person, and here's a rare thing: we actually see her smile in flashbacks. So that's a thing. So it's like, all right, you see these little bits of Nero where I'm like, that's cool. And plus, it's also gonna happen again where she's seeing the prince sneak out with Tetia, his sister, and she's like, lately His Majesty has been secretly going out frequently with his younger sister, Princess Tetia. I wonder where they're going. And thus we see them like meeting up with the elves. And she's like, different beings blessed with extraordinary amounts of mana, overflowing with mana and ingenuity. No, ingenuity. Yeah, okay, that's how you say it. The same
Yeah.
ideals and ideologies, and the same four-leaf clover. The chief of the elves lit was the prince's first friend who could stay on equal standing with them. And we see a little blush too on her face while she's smiling. Possible ships? I don't know. I know
That's
someone's
true. The
gonna.
first
I know someone's gonna mention that in the comments. I'm just like, hey.
I haven't seen. I should check on the comments now. If the first Magic Emperor, first Wizard King, whatever, if the first Wizard King goes bye bye, then Asta still there. I'm a candidate now. Yeah, I'm available. Hey, but hey, if this is a ship, then look at the bright side, Noel. You got one less competition, so it's you either win or lose. I don't know.
Literally, because
Better hope.
it's like, okay, Noah, we know you're the main person who wants to get asked, but Nero's done more. She sat on his head, so take that for what you will. I know it's bird form, but, but if this is a possible ship, then cool. Not then hey.
He said, "Cool."
So,
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I ship it. But you know, but the
I was gonna say, and all it took is like just a couple panels.
I know. It's like, yeah, I believe it. I buy into it too. But you know, there was one thing I forgot to mention in the review I wrote. The one part that stick by me, and if for some reason I didn't comment it, which I regret it, but I guess I'll do it here. Is like, you know, not Nero, the first Wizard King. He said himself like, well, you know, my clothes, like, how could you not like them? I the one that designed them. And then one of the montage, he actually made a clothes for Nero, which she declined. But that clothes is the one that we see today in the present time. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was a nice moment, even if she did reject it. But it just goes to show you that he was the one that made that clothes after all. So that's actually a nice detail. But it goes to show you these montage is good enough to give the idea of their relationship, like, you know, easily made friend and easily change her mind, instead of like, again, like the beginnings really made it sound like that she really had a hard time with the nobleman, which she has pointed out a couple of times here as well, when the Wizard King pretty much beginning drawing distance from the other guys. His, you know, his way, his characteristic is differs from theirs. You know, everyone else is pretty much our assholes, as we know. But Nero respects that, because not only he has his own passion, but he sticks by it. He doesn't be like, well, damn, my other families is like really not liking me because I'm too much passionate for a good thing. So I guess I should be an asshole too. But instead, he's like, we still go on because this is ambitions. He has something that he actually have a desire to do so for the better, for the greater good. And then seeing the elves, seeing him and the elf like hanging out, like two different races hanging out like best of friends, like family, brothers. It's it's a heartwarming feeling, and that's why it was like nice to see how the first Wizard King and Lich is bonding together. Again, one of this case of like, all you have to do is show, and you already could tell that this relationship is really genuine and really nice. It's like, you know it by seeing it. You don't have to be told by it, but you could get that warm feeling, whether it's from the narration of Nero or just seeing how the portrayal of these two bonding together, you know, smiling, happy, and life is gonna get really good. And then we know what happens later on, which really sucks, especially where we find out, you know, since the first Wizard King has been making the magical tools, you know, it was the idea to store up mana and share it with others. That sounds like a nice thing to do. Unfortunately, we see later within the flashback, we know what happens, and it sucks that his invention pretty much led to the annihilation. And then you got the whole elves magic stones, which are connected with the spirit world and amplify magic. And we know how they're being used today, being pretty much used for a lot of bad things, except for more or less reviving the first Wizard King. But it just sucks that these tools were meant to be for peaceful manner, for the greater good, ends up being for the disasters and more mayhem. But yeah, that's just how it is. It really does suck when you, even before we get to see that moment, you just know it, that all this could have been prevented one way or
I
another.
really could have. That's actually a pretty good point to bring up, because, like, yeah, like there was like a lot of things that the prince and Lit had planned when it comes to the magic stones and for the tools, but ultimately with where we see in the present, it's like, oh shit, so something happens with both these factions, and it causes something, which we actually do find out, and we're gonna get to that. But first, we have this where we still go at Secre, still monologuing like through the cultural exchanges with elves, we continue to make progress with magic and magical tool technology, furthering our goal of creating peace and equality, not only for the human world, but for both peoples, elves, and humans, to live in harmony. At least that's what the initial idea was. Let was best friends with the prince, and they were even to become family, which is actually true, and that's always been mentioned throughout the series. At the very least, I want to say probably when this arc started, or a little bit before. I don't remember the details too well because it was so long ago, but yeah, I believe Liar was the one reminiscing the flashback, and we see Tete with Blit. Yeah, no, I do want to say that's before. That's before this arc even kickstarted. It just kind of sucks when you think about it because you have Tete and you have the prince, and they're talking about the wedding day. We're like, so on the wedding day, on the day of the wedding, sorry, but I'm going to be a bit late. Father has summoned me to the palace. The family is still opposed to the marriage, but don't worry. I'm sure they'll come around and wish them happiness. And then you get Tete just saying, okay, but I'm sure Lyd and everyone else will be looking forward to you coming, brother. Which is a nice, sweet, tender moment, but oh man, where that leads. Because
Mm-hmm.
even Nero's like, but it was most likely already too late by this point. He had us all in the palm of his hands. Because it even goes further to a point where we have him like just walking around. Like, I wonder why Father called me over today. I didn't tell anyone about the ceremony, so this is quite the coincidence. I have to hurry back to their ceremony. And he's there, and he's like, "Where is everyone? Like, no one's present." Father, where are? And immediately, as soon as I saw the speech bubble, I was like, "Ah, shit!" I knew specifically who this was gonna be. It was like prohibit, and the prince is wrapped up. To which we see this guy who is the minister. He's like, "Oh, good day, my dear prince," and he's like, "Minister? No, this evil mana coming from inside him. That's not from the minister. Who are you? Who indeed? Take your breaks. Call me however you'd like. I don't mind. Despair, perhaps? Or maybe hatred, faithfulness, falsehood, or even demise itself. I'm rearranging my dialogue bubbles, but hey. So, same devil. Same fucking bastard from the present timeline. Yeah. As soon as I saw this guy's face and his smile, I'm like, ah, shit. Here we go dealing with this. Again. Sparta, like, how did you feel about this part of the chapter with the conversation with the prince and his sister, and ultimately bringing it up to here with the devil showing up?
Well, it does suck that it happened on the day of the ceremony. It sucked that this is the devil way to distract the first Wizard King, because the first Wizard King, if he was there at the ceremony, which people thought he was, the elves thought that he stood back and just let his people kill all the elves through the massacre. Where in reality, we found that the devil is the one that called the first Wizard King over for announcement, which ends up being a lie. It was just a way to bind him, trap him, and make sure he doesn't go after the ceremony and save everybody from the massacre. Because all the devil has to do is really tell the noble people, hey, there's elves. These guys have an incredible amount of mana. Hey, you have those tools that you can store up. You know what we should do? Kill every one of them and get all the mana you can get. That's all he had to do, and it worked. It's not like he has to go every individual body and then be like, well, I just suddenly changed my mind. I wanted to be even more douchier than ever, and I wanted to kill everybody in that ceremony, including our own brethren, our own princess, because she have elf filth around her body. So screw her. She doesn't deserve to live. All the devil has to do is just take one control of the minister, tell them, hey, you know, the elves have incredible mana, and that's it. Which again is still tragic and it's still crazy because it doesn't take him to take over everybody's body. It only takes the word of mouth and the greed of the people to go this corrupted level, and this is where the massacre happened. It's like, damn, this still is tragic. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people a long time ago said the whole, "Oh, this is reminding me of Naruto with the whole Kaguya thing." I mean, like, I understand that in that circumstance, but again,
That's a
this is
much
like
better
the
version of that. I'll say that for
yeah,
certain.
it's the much better. It's the much better version. It's the much better execution. Execution, like everything about it makes a lot of sense in the grand scheme, and it just makes it ties up everything. It doesn't like feel like, oh, there's a brand new path, like one of those time travel trying to that. Excuse me, the time travel. Like what? It's not like those case of like those time travel craziness. Is like, oh, okay, I'm confused. I feel like there's like 8 plot holes that just invented in one go, but whatever. So in this case, you started to add up. You started to see everything coming together, and now with the whole understanding with the first Wizard King was binded by the devil himself, it just let the massacre go on. And it sucks because like the first Wizard King can make a huge difference if he was there. It sucks that his last moment with his sister was the back at the castle, just telling him like, "I'll be there late. Don't worry about me. I'll be there." And it's like the last smile he ever see, and you already see the dawn of the rude awakening, the dawn where the series pretty much progressed from. Like you see Patuli,
I did see the
I
track
believe
and
that's
still need
Patuli.
to look at it.
Yeah, I believe that's Patuli. You see him like he has that skeptical feeling, which ends up being, the case of like, well, shit, I knew it. Those humans were never to be trusted, and now I want revenge. And then you got the whole people already getting ready to steal mana, and kill every one of them. So everything was already planted. Everything was already set to go for a massacre. All we have to do is take the Wizard King and make sure he doesn't get interfere, which he couldn't. So it really sucks. Like it's amazing though that the devil don't really have a name yet. I don't know if he ever will have a name, or I don't even think he has a name ever. Like maybe the idea is that this is a entity that you just don't know who he is, but it's best to just get rid of him because he's just that dangerous. The devil himself is like,
We'll call him Abyss.
shit.
That'll be his name.
Or one of the anon, one of the anonymous question that asked me, just call him Jimmy. I'm like, yeah, sure, Jimmy. That's very threatening. Watch out for Jimmy. No offense to people who has the name Jimmy. I'm just saying in terms of villainy, I mean, my real name is no it's no amazing name for a protagonist or even antagonist. So don't worry about it. The point is he has no name from the sound of it, but it still feels intimidating as always
Yeah.
because just the amount of like the creep factor, the darkness, the planning. He has been credible as a villain, and that's I bought into it. There you go.
I've got a good name.
What name you have for him?
Darkness.
Darkness.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
laugh.
call him Batman.
I'm gonna laugh.
Huh?
That's what his name is. I'm gonna be like, "Are you serious?"
Oh god. I still remember in one of the South Park episode. Well, it was Christopher Reeves, where the guy who plays the original Superman movies.
Mhm.
I just remember I remember in the show he was there, and he pretty much find the cure to his disability and all that stuff. And then he got so addicted to it, he turns evil, and he's like, he's like, Christopher, you gotta stop doing this. There is no more Christopher. Call me Chris. That's his antagonist
I
form.
remember that.
Call me. I was like, oh my god, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't know why, but that always cracked me up when I see that. No, Christopher's no more. Call me. It's dramatic too, Chris. So I'm just thinking like the devil would do that. I'm not despair, hatred, faithfulness, faithlessness, or anything of that. Call me Jimmy. Something like, I don't know. Nero is not a bad name for a devil, but that's taken.
I was about to say, I'm like, Nero could have worked.
Yeah. Secre, I think that's how you say it.
Secre.
She does show up though. Yeah, she does show up and put her usefulness. The same magic that the noblemen call it useless. Kind of ironic, but
It's like, what is this gonna do? So I guess in a way you could say she's kind of the Noelle of her time. That's one way to put it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's. I mean, like, hey,
I mean, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say it's to the same caliber, but it's got some similarities to it. Noble family's like, oh, she's just useless. Though she's not a royal.
Yeah,
that's the only other thing.
That is true. She's not royal though, but there's some traits. But I think they're just like completely different altogether, though. I mean, we'll see what happens when they interact. It'd be amusing to find out a bird is a woman and the king is a stone. So it's gonna be funny when that time comes. But yeah,
I'll actually laugh if Noelle's like, "Can we be bull sisters?" I'm gonna be like, "Oh, so you're actually okay with this? Okay."
Let's see. What else? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 5 female casts in the bulls, right? I think.
Vanessa, Charmy, Gray. It's 3, right? Who else is there?
That's 3 so far. Noelle herself, that's 4. And Nero, if she stays by, it'll be 5.
That would be 5.
Yeah, it's 5 of them. Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with the other one for sisters? for Noelle, that is. But then again, Charmy is always her own because she's, Charmy. Vanessa is drunk. Gray is shy as hell. So yeah, I guess it would be a good time for her to find a bull sister.
Right.
Those mimosas, like, I decided to quit and go to
it would actually be funny if if Noelle gets like super peppy on like Dorothy level. She's like, "Come on, let's go do something." I'm gonna be like, that is a new reach for Noelle. Because I don't do anything like that for her.
Did Nero ever interact with Noelle? I'm trying to remember.
As a bird?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
I don't remember.
Like, I'm pecking you to let you know that you have a new competition in the future.
Let's see. Interacts with Fenrir. Interacts with the Witch Queen.
That's still interesting.
Who else is there? And Asta.
Oh yeah, well, she's pretty much was like Asta's pet in a hidden way. It's like, I'm gonna just act like a pet.
I still find it funny how Luck's like, why don't we just call him Nero? And she just like raises her hand like, yes, I approve. So I want to say no, but I don't know. I gotta check back now if there has been any interactions between the two of them specifically. Knowing that,
I do wonder if we ever do get to see the bird version again.
How would you feel if we don't? It's gonna be like, huh? Okay.
I mean, I have seen gimmicks go bye before, which is always sad. But sometimes your gimmick has to go bye, and sometimes you gotta update. Sometimes you gotta evolve. Sometimes you gotta grow up. So if we don't see the bird anymore, well, sucks. But it is what it is.
Unless the bird becomes like a gag, and Nero is just like. This is like, you know what? I know I could sleep in my bed, but I want to go in bird form and just sleep on a tree.
I got very accustomed to being a bird. I love being a bird now. I just like pecking people without even notice that I'm just a person that's disguised as a bird. I'm just trolling, as always. We'll see what happens after the
You
series.
you want to add a
Excuse me, the
comedic
arc.
element. You want to add a comedic element, like when she tries to peck Ast on the head. She's accidentally kissing him without realizing it, and that triggers Noelle.
Oh my god! Unless she be funny, it's like that's Nero this time, and then she like started putting a lot of pieces together. Wait a minute, all the interaction. Oh my god, she's beating me.
That would be funny, actually. Be like,
Me.
did I do this?
It's like the whole thing with Sally. Well, why are you wearing the clothes of her? Oh, I gave that clothes. It's like, wow, do you not realize what you're doing?
It's like, yeah, it's like he'd tell me he'd let me do whatever I'd want with this body, and she was just like, he did what?
Yeah, it's like the most out of context. Just keep on growing with Asta. I'm like, oh god, Asta, the hell, the hell, man.
Like the wrong
And now we're
word.
gonna have yeah, and now with Nero not being a bird, well, I hope he knows how to word it out before everything gets all screwy.
All right. Yeah, you've got the devil talking about like, yeah, like perhaps they've gone to their princess and are about to slaughter an entire race of people to protect their kingdom from harm. Pretty much kind of insinuating his plan that he had stated. What's it been now, like almost 9 chapters, give or take? Yeah, he's like,
Mhm.
I'm sure the elves will be quite surprised. They're about to get hit by a hurricane of human violence and greed at their secret ceremonial location, which only you knew about. Yeah, I wonder who orchestrated all of that. I wonder who. Because even he's just like, wait, what did you say? Like, as expected of the strongest kingdoms, your magical prowess is fearsome, but I've taken the proper precautions, so even you won't be able to break out very easily. Once I've obtained a grimoire and a physical body, I'll gladly face you again. Wait, stop! And, we've got him saying, someone, is anyone there? Someone! And Nero comes in, Prince Secre. Well, what is this? Then it really wasn't you, Prince. That magical tool we created is gone. Okay, undo these binds for me. Your sealing magic is capable of that. And immediately, you can see that at first she's like kind of thinking about it, but then she immediately uses it. Sealing magic reverse release. And by doing that, they're able to dash on over to where Lid's at. And he's just kind of thinking about this too, like, Tetia lit everyone. The magical tool we made. It's going off. And then he looks over and holy shit, the bloodbath. Literal literal bloodbath here. Of like all these elves. And I'm gonna assume humans too. And we see Lit carrying Tetia. The corpse of Tetia, and I'm just like, wow. And you've literally got the devil hovering behind Lit too, so it's like, oh god. I mean, you want to hear the term whispering in your ear. You can't get more literal than this. I'm gonna say that right now.
I'll say, I'll say. Oh man, this shot, that massacre shot, it's funny because like, okay, I don't know how many people did not read Naruto, so I forgive me for spoiling. Now, the only difference I remember in the top of my head just now, I actually just got it just now. Like, there is one big difference. Now, Zetsu, Black Zetsu, he did change the script somehow, some way because plot. So he's changed the script and convince Uchiha, hey, there is a moon. There is a plan that we could change the world by using our moon and the eyes. Ooh, we could do that. Stuff like that. So they believe that because, well, I guess they're just a bunch of fools, but I digress. So you would think this would cause a mayhem. And it did cause a war, but they did have a peace treaty. They have a truce. And only Madara himself, the main bad guy, one of the main bad guy, decided to go rebel and try to go against the world in a sense. So, okay, that's it. But it was technically solved. You just need one person to be influenced. And Madara was the only one that got influenced. In this case, this is bigger and this is more destructive. This is more grim, more morbid. Because the fact is, again, yes, the devil has started this mayhem, but he doesn't carry by himself. It's just his word of mouth is all it takes. So the fact that you see all these elves and maybe some humans, as Lucky Chi pointed out, maybe there's some humans, but the fact is, all these bodies are caused by humans, and it may be influenced by the devil, but the human has caused the damage, and it's just crazy because like we seen all these race just obliterated by the human, all in one ceremony. It's pretty much the red wedding. It's the red wedding of Black Clover.
It is.
That's what it is. It's crazy. And the only difference is, we have Lich. There's a sole survivor there. I mean, yeah, we find out Patuli, but that's a flashback we already know from the 100 chapters ago. Or not that actually, it's like less than 100, but it's been a long time. Put it that way. It's like one of the beginning of this arc that we get to learn about Patuli and how he managed to get resurrected or some way of form. But the point is the fact that these elves were massacred. They die in this very day. It's just insane. It's really dark. It's like the darkest moment of this series so far. Just seeing everyone already dead with one survivor, which is Lich, and he's carrying, his bride, Tetsuya. It's crazy. And then you just see the devil hovering, like getting ready to control. And you see that not only his grimoire has a 5-leaf clover, but his eyes was already turned into a dark elf, which would have been close. Which he was going to go dark elf, and then he's going to be 100% control by the devil, and that would have been 100% game over. It would become Infinity. It would become Infinity War without an end game. That's what it would have happened.
Actually, a good analogy when you think about that. It's like, yeah.
I gotta say, I do think he's really a fan of Berserk because I got a Berserk feeling.
I was gonna say that, yeah, because like when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, that this is the Berserk feeling that I'm sensing right now.
Like, I mean, like thank God it's Shonen and Weekly Shonen Jump, because otherwise we would have seen much explicit detail.
Oh, you know what you'd be getting with Berserk.
If it would have been like that, then I think everybody would be traumatized. So like, well, kids, you should not pick up that Shonen Jump issue. Well, if you are, just remember, when you find Black Clover, count to 19 pages and skip them.
Right. It's just like,
but yeah.
It's just like, oh man, like it's like, oh man, like look at this bloodbath of massacre. It's like, yeah, this isn't shonen. If you saw this in Berserk, it'd be much worse.
Yeah.
But Tabata did say that he was inspired by Berserk, so I do like the fact that we're doing that.
Oh, I'll say.
But yeah, like you've got the prince there, and you've got Secre there, and they're both just like, Tetsuya lit. And she immediately notices on his grimoire, like, a 5-leaf crow or grimoire. Basically, it becomes the grimoire that Asta is carrying to this day. So, there's that. And you've got Lit going like, I knew it. He's like, Lit? I knew it all along. That it wasn't you. And the devil's like, he's taking back control of his heart. I'm sorry I doubted you. Just for a single second. Please forgive me. You continue to struggle. It's pointless. Now give me your body. That's the devil. For the future we believed in, you are our only hope. I am currently completely suffused with a terrifyingly negative mana. My body will no longer listen to me. At this rate, that devil will. In order to keep my body and magic from this wicked being, I need to absorb more negative mana into my body. You get the devil like the magic stones. You're going to use the highest tier forbidden level magic on your body, and immediately you've got the prince going like, "Sorry, but this is my last request. Don't do it, Lid. You're the only one who can do this." And then I see this page, this final page, and I'm just like, "Holy shit!" Because you've got like going like, well, the translation I read was like Lumeire, but here it's Lumiel. So I'm not sure what the official translation name is, but I'm gonna go with Lumeire. So Lumeire, please kill me. And the last panel, like when I saw this, I had to sit there and I was like, get the fuck out of here. The second time I looked at it, I was like, wait a second. The third time I'm like, Tabata. What the hell? What the hell?
Oh man.
I don't know what to say. I honestly don't. What about you,
Okay.
Sparda?
Well, look. All right. Yeah, this is easily my favorite part. Now, this is my favorite part for many reasons. First of all, I know a lot of us are compared to Naruto or any other shonen, but again, when you go back to the first chapter again, you see a lot of elements that's pretty much the same thing that every shonen has, and then there's always a one twist that change it up that actually makes it into a forgiving factor, or more of a like a redeeming factor that you could say, you know what, it may be generic in a lot of ways, but there's some parts that actually tells me I want to check more of this series. So with the first chapter, everything felt like the exact same thing that you have seen from every other series. And then one curveball was Yuno actually is 100% cool with Asta. And he actually find him as a true rival, a friendly rival, not a rival like, ha ha ha, I'm the best. What are you going to do, Pipsqueak? What are you going to do? You have no magic. You suck. You know, I hate you. Bare bone. Urgh. But instead, it's like, oh, I asked her, you're a great guy, you're a cool friend, you're a great rival, and that's why I had to defeat you. And it's all friendly. It's like, oh, we got a friendly rivalry. That's awesome. So going to this chapter, what I like about this is that Lich didn't turn evil. He didn't go like, I'm gonna go revenge. How could you? First Wizard King, or which we now know as Lumiere. I can't really pronounce it either one, so I suck at that. I'll practice that for the next podcast. But which is interesting because the name is actually translated to light. It's a very nice. It's a fitting name and it's a nice touch out of from Tabata himself. It's supposed to mean light in a different language. I think if you go by I forgot which one is Latin. I think one is Latin and the other one is darn, I forgot. I got to research again, but it's definitely a different language, but it does mean light one way or another. And I thought that was interesting. What I like about this again, I like about this chapter, this moment, is because Lynch didn't actually go for the usual. How dare you betray me? I hate everybody, and therefore I'm gonna become the demon god, as some fans were pointing out for some reason. But I'm just gonna go with that demon god, and he summons the demon god, all that stuff. He didn't do that. I mean, he did the latter, sure, but the motivation was completely different to my expectation, and it blew away my expectation of the delivery because I was actually more stunned than just more like, oh, the usual. Instead, what we have here is that Lich actually summoned the demon god, let's call it that. He summoned the demon god to prevent the greater evil, which would have been, again, if the devil took over his body, we would have Infinity War without an endgame. That would have been the case. But instead, the only way to prevent from the devil to completely control him, he has to make a greater sacrifice, and that is to summon the demon god by using his magic stones and use his body as a vessel. So that's a different twist. Because again, it could have been like, how could you betray me? You even let your sister die. How dare you? How dare all you human? I want revenge. And then he just goes to the evil form. You know, like, well, listen, this is a big misunderstanding. Instead of misunderstanding, it's more like it was nice enough that Lich actually found out that his best friend, possibly the only human being that he can really trust, well, besides the sister, but it's still part of the family. The point is, the only real person that he could really trust outside of his sister is him. And when he saw him coming in, even after the massacre is already done, even if he was doubtful, even if he felt like he felt betrayed by the Wizard King, he did have hope. He did have some hope there. And then when he saw him, it's like, I knew it. I knew it that it wasn't you. I'm so glad. I did have doubt, and I feel bad for even doubting you, even if it was for a second. But he almost let the devil control him 100%. Then he back off because he was about to do a ritual in order to prevent that, which is crazy because out of context, it sounds asinine to say like, I don't want the devil to control me, so therefore I'm going to summon a demon god. It sounds asinine out of context, but it makes much sense in context because, like, because again, the devil controlling a really powerful body equals end of the world. He didn't do that with Patuli because he was not. It was because he just wanted the Grimoire, and the body wasn't the best. I mean, Patuli isn't as strong as Lich, as we can see now. Lich is highly likely to like Lich fought Asta and Yuno at their best, and he was not his best, far from it, and he still kicks their ass. That tells you everything, how powerful he really could have. That's how powerful he is, even if it's like 50%, 25%, whatever percent. That's how powerful he is. So huh?
That's it. It really does showcase like how powerful Lit is when he was fighting off,
right? Exactly. So the fact that the devil wanted to take control of him, it just spells like the worst news that could have gone to. But instead, he summoned a demon god. But what I really liked the most about this, again, it avoided the cliche. The best friend thought this best friend has betrayed him, so therefore he turned evil himself because he thought his best friend turned evil. It prevented that cliche. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind too much, but it's kind of like, I don't want to spoil one other series, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do my best to be vague. It's like this one series where it feels like there was gonna go a cop out because this person was tended to die, or that's the mission of the series, or that's the purpose of the series, or whatever you want to say it. This person was meant to die, but something happens. Something happens that was like a cop out for you, but instead it tells a better narrative down the line. And the better narrative is more of a tragic note than a high five note. High five note would be like, yeah, we killed the guy. The tragic note would be like, I didn't want to do this, but it has to be done. And you just feel emotional. So then this is the case of feeling emotional because it's not like Lich turned evil, like, damn, this could have been prevented. He turned evil. It's more like, oh man, this could have been prevented. But he wanted to do it. But it really sucks that his best friend had to have no choice. He had to sacrifice, and he's making his best friend to kill him for the greater good. That's what makes it so freaking tragic. Like, I felt that. It's like, damn, it has to be this way. Like, it's not like out of misunderstanding. They understand. They understand what needs to be done. They hate that has to go to this route, but it's the only way. And it's just crazy that he has to summon this demon god just to prevent a devil to control him. So now we're going to see the next chapter, because damn it, it ended there. But we're going to see the next chapter, how Lumiere, again, I don't know if I pronounced it right. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but pardon me for the language translation. But now we're going to see how he's going to defeat Lich as a demon god, whatever how you say it. And as people were pointing out, some people would say like this would explain why the demon god was killed off by a giant sword, is because it's all full of light, which Lich has like magic. He's like all light. So maybe that's how he gets killed off. So I would say easily, but gets killed off. I was like, oh, it makes a greater sense. Now we just need to find out about the stone part, which maybe.
I think we're gonna get that. I think we're gonna get that.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get a lot of answers in the next chapter. We're gonna get like why Nero has horns, why the Wizard King turns to a statue, how exactly did he kill Lich as a demon god, all that stuff. But damn, this is just crazy. Like the mere fact that his best friend has no choice but to do this in order to prevent the greater evil.
And
And yeah, this
the
is
craziest thing out of everything is that this is that if you look at the demon god form, it's the same one from the first page of the series.
yeah,
So
it's
that's the other thing where I'm like, holy shit.
mm-hmm, the exact same one. The only question is now I have is like if this demon is the same one as Asta is holding right now. Because my first assumption is the devil was that big demon. I thought that was the case.
That's what I
I
thought
thought
too.
he found. I thought that was the case, and it'd be like it's very straightforward, but acceptable nonetheless. But instead, you have a more tragic note, which I already explained it, and I like this direction much more because I feel emotional with these characters. This whole flashback, this whole backstory has actually got me very invested with these characters, even in a short amount of time, which says a lot that how good and well written it was for a short amount of time with these panels, these montage, and I just understood everything about it like right away. I don't need exposition. I don't need to go down like you don't need like 10 pages of Nero and Lumiere try to connect, try to like be cool friends, and then all that stuff. It needs to do all that shenanigans. All you need is a montage with a good worded narration, and it works. It works out really well. I like the fact that the devil, like you find out why the devil couldn't win, why the devil couldn't, take over the world from that point or destroy the world, whatever he wants to do. We find out why that was the big opportunity, but again, he has to do the sacrifice. But I also like the fact the devil does remain intimidating and powerful because like it's not like if the devil was the big demon god as you want to call it, if he was that, it's like not Lich, Lumiere destroyed him before. Now he's back. He could do it again, so it's not too much of a problem. It's like another series. Like another series is like, yeah, that was tough. That was a struggle. You beat him. That's good for you. So why we're doing a lot of different upgrade that pretty much doesn't need that upgrade? Because you've seen it before. You've seen it happen. It could be done with the same path of power level. You don't need to adjust it and to make it seem like it needs to be done because that guy was too strong. Like, what are you talking about? He was defeated by the exact same form. So in this case, it's like the devil has never have a doesn't have a loss record, at least in battle wise.
I said, no, he doesn't have a lost record. I mean, again, the devil, every time he gets the body part chopped up, he's just like, all right, reconnect. Like,
Yeah, like he's already like all like his main goal right now is just to get a body. If you get a body, it's all game over for everyone. But even without a body, he's still powerful as hell, which is crazy. So yeah, I got nothing else to say, but I just want the next chapter. Just give me that next chapter. It could go 1 year, 1 year, one
one
two
year.
weeks time skip. We could go 1 week time skip. We won't destroy the fabric of time. We won't multiverse the world or anything like that.
No. It's not like you're gonna be like, I am inevitable. just You're just like, wait, what? Why didn't it work?
Look, it's
Oh,
too soon in terms of spoilers.
yeah, I'm not gonna specifically say what that is, but hey,
Yeah.
I could see the devil doing that. Funny enough, and Lit being the demon god, the same one that
Mhm.
Lumiere defeated, and the fact that again it's in Hajj village, and the fact that he decided to become a statue on top of that really says a lot.
We talk about Lumiere, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. If I remember correctly, they did I think it was Nero. Or was it no, it was himself that said that I think he was close to dying. And then Nero did this and then prevented it, so to say.
yeah, I think that's what it was.
So something must have happened. Like either Lich was close to killing him, and then Lumiere did the final blow, or maybe he defeats Lich as a demon god, and then the devil does a sneak attack to try to kill him, and then he instead sealed him up, and then 500 years later. But that's my best guess. So my only guess I could think of.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm thinking too. Is that something had to happen to Lumiere, and then it got him to the point that where he is right now. Especially like when you consider the magic stones. And if I had to say prediction wise, I think that's what we're gonna get next week is the flashback stuff. Just wrapping up everything. How Nero gets her horns, and ultimately us getting to maybe then like reaching like I don't know if I can say they reach Asta, Nozella, and the gang. I don't know if I can say that, but I can at least see them like at least already going into the Shadow Palace. That's my
Yeah.
guess. But that also actually does lead to an interesting part, and that is Lit's there. He is actually there right now with Yami and Charla. So that reunion is going to be interesting to see play
Oh,
out.
definitely. The thing about the thing about this reunion is that it's going to be a lot of mixed reaction. Not in the sense like, oh man, this sucks, or oh man, this was good, could have been better, whatever. I didn't mean like that. I mean like literal mixed reaction. You got on one hand, you got to be like, it's been so long, Lich. How you doing, Patoli? I believe you're still mad at me for this or whatever like that. Then you got the other type of comedy one, be like, is that you, Nero? What? That kind of comedy. So that's why it's important to create dynamics with your characters. Because when you see a reunion, you expect a lot of different type of reaction rather than be like, oh, okay, they're friends because the backstory says so. But instead, you're gonna be like more than that. Again, we got like if we do a whole gathering in one area, it's bound to be a lot of different type of reaction in a fun way.
For
We're like,
sure.
Charmy, what the hell happened to you? Nero, you're not a bird and you're a woman. First Wizard King, what? Hey, best
I
friend
can see
Lich, it's been
Athens
a long time.
calling that. For
Like Asta probably have Asta probably just blow up for no reason because there's just too many stuff, too many revelation. What? And then like I said, the dynamic is important. It's key to make it interesting and amusing. So I'm just waiting for when everybody just show up in one area. So so first Wizard King, he may show up in not the first next chapter seems like it's gonna cover more of the flashback. I don't know if it will cover the entire thing or it will be like a good portion and then you get to the present time by the end, but we'll see. I think the next chapter is supposed to be the last chapter of the volume, is it?
It is, yeah, because and I said this in the last podcast too, but assuming the 11 chapter format continues as it's been since I want to say 18,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, 205 will most likely be the last chapter of volume 21.
Yeah. It's best place to end the volume with a flashback. I mean, sure, sometimes you don't need to end with like, oh, everything is cleared up in one volume. Sometimes they go to a next volume and be like two more chapters of this arc, and then they would go to the new arc. I mean, you can't really perfectly line up, but sometimes sometimes some author, some mangaka once the has the attention to end the volume with a like something like a big cliffhanger or something less like concluding something like a big plot line, backstory, whatever. So maybe the flashback will end in the next chapter. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Just because I'm following the whole volume logic to end it big or end it with a cliffhanger, whatever. But that's the way I see it at the moment. I think that we're gonna have one more chapter of flashback, and then after
I
that, we're
think
gonna
it
have
might
like a
probably
lot of
next chapter. That's my big guess.
yeah,
And when you think about it, because we covered a lot in one flashback chapter, we did.
yeah. We did. Like this is the type of things that you gotta go to every other character's flashback to get the big giant picture. But you pretty much know how Patoli reacts, feels about it. Lich side of the story, well, not entirely, but you get the idea that, he was really gotten close with Lumiere. and the whole idea of like trying to have like one big family, even if the royal family are pretty much assholes, but there you go. So it's like you already see a lot of different point of view, and this one is pretty much Nero with some of Lumiere, but it's mostly of Nero because she was there for the massacre. She was there for the tragic event, and now she's there for the part where they had to destroy the demon god. So it makes a lot of sense why we focus in on her. We just need to find out why she has horns, why she did the whole why. Well, I'm not, it seems like she will be the one that did the whole sealing the stone, sealing him as a stone. Because if she is the seal, if she does sealing magic, that should be the case, right? But then again, this begs the question: like, does she grows horn before she does a seal to Lumiere or the afterward? It seems like to me it might suggest that it might be before she sealed Lumiere as a statue. That's what it seems like.
That's what I'm thinking
Cause
too.
like yeah, because like her magic, she could do sealing, release and close, whatever. Like very simple, very basic, but it can be helpful. I feel like with the horns, it probably adjusted her magic, and then she could do like in a more nature matter, like statue, because that's technically sealing a person. So I don't know. That's my best guess, but I'm just curious where she got the horns from, like why she has those horns now.
Oh yeah, like it's especially since like throughout this chapter, she hasn't even like flashback wise, she didn't even have him when she met Lumiere. Because I assumed from the last chapter that okay, she might be of a different race, but that's not the case now. So she got those horns somehow. Maybe I don't want to say no. I was gonna kind of bring up like FMA in a sense of like maybe she got cursed and in doing so like that's what gave her the horns. I don't know how accurate that would be, but I could see that being a possibility. Or
So you're saying like she does some forbidden magic and she earns the horns or something like that?
maybe I don't know because I'm just kind of wondering like how do they come? You know, like how do they just
Right.
randomly show up on her?
Right. I mean, it sounds possible, but at the same time, shouldn't she have like any consequences regardless?
That's what
Like,
I was
oh,
thinking.
I got horns. I'm evil now. It's like that can't be just that. It gotta be like she gets horns because it represents that she did forbidden magic, and this is the consequences. She's immortal. Her body can never age ever. I don't know because she did live through 500 years without being a statue, but be as a bird.
That could be the
Think
curse.
about that. Yeah, maybe the curse is to be a bird and never unleash. I don't know. Which is something. I mean, it's not wrong being a bird. You can be a troll forever. That's cool.
Got a face.
What I want to know is, if 500 years later, this is 500 years ago. Excuse me. How and then they're gonna kill Lich here. How does it still translate to Asta and Yuno? More of Asta, especially with the Grimoire, the five-leaf clover.
Yeah, the fact that
Are you telling me?
it just
Hmm?
called to him specifically from chapter one. Like that's a question everybody still brings up to this day. It's like, so why did it specifically call to him?
Exactly. Like it's clearly like as they said many times, it's clearly that grimoire, that book, it belongs to Lich, but now it's Asta. But we didn't know that grimoire can be transferred like that, like especially when it's a five-leaf clover, and then the devil is now inside of Asta. Is it the same? Not devil, but the demon. Is it the same demon as the one that caused destruction, or it's just a different demon altogether? What's the story behind that? What's the context? What is it? So that might not answer in the next chapter. But I could be wrong. If it does answer in the next chapter, awesome. Because I really wanted to know what's the deal with that story. Maybe for all we know, it probably won't be answered for a long time. Maybe it'll be like, you'll probably get the answer in the next saga or next arc or something. We'll see.
Do you think Yuno and Lumiere are related?
You know Lumiere, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say yes, but why does he possess what? Then again, the elf magic came because of. I don't know. It's strange because like
Because he even had the
it's
pen.
not like
That's the other thing.
I'm sorry?
Like Yuno also had the pendant, like, since birth.
That is true. There's so many mystery. I mean, it can be answered in the next chapter again. It can be, especially the Asta part. But we'll have to wait and see. But you do bring up a good point about the whole panda thing. See, it's not like Yuno and Asta are reincarnation of Lich and Lumiere because they never really Lich did, but Lumiere was only Seal, so there's no such thing as a reincarnation from him, right?
No.
Unless I'm missing something. No, I mean reincarnation technically means a soul travel to another new body. Same soul, a soul pretty much it goes to transfer to another body, but regardless, it's a used soul in a sense. So if Lumiere never died, then it can't be a reincarnation unless there's some different logic. Like, it would split my spirit in half and give it to this random boy who would be, I mean, that sounds too far fetched, but
It does.
I don't know. It sounds a little too weird and kind of not cop out. Another word for it. Just feels forced. I don't know. I will be confused and probably won't like that direction. Honestly, it has to have a reasonable explanation, and I don't think splitting the soul will be good enough for me. But we'll see what happens.
Gonna be something we're gonna have to think about for quite a while. I don't think that's what we're gonna cover next chapter, but I do think what we are gonna cover is the defeat of Lit, how he becomes a statue, and how Secret gets the horns. I believe that for certain. How the chapter will end, I got no idea. Something crazy will happen. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, we know. Maybe Lumiere wasn't the one that killed Lich. It was this brother that nobody knows in the history book ever. It was just some random brother of Lumiere that killed Lich. And he is the true first Wizard King. It was never written in scripture because plot. I don't know. Oh God. It could happen. I don't want it to happen, but it could.
I'm like a recipe for disaster that's already happened. It's like
Like,
the reason why that recipe never worked.
wonder if anybody caught that reference.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I've been saying it. Tabata just keeps proving that like he's not stopping, and I've said it time and time again. Noel, then Charmy, then the devil himself.
I think
Nero.
it's best to,
now we get this with the demon from like the very first page of the series. It's like, okay, I'm convinced. Like, now I'm 100% convinced that this guy has like an entire wall map that, like, all right, here are the plot points.
it's like, at last, I can finally unleash this plot point. I have been dying to use this one, but now I made it this far and I could use it. I think that's his mindset when he's about to draw and write this particular chapter. So I like to believe that, but I think it's best to say whenever you think it's gonna go to that route, just expect something different path. I mean, this has been like this for a while, honestly. Again, ever since the first chapter. Yes, it started off very generic. It started off ways a lot of things that's very similar. I understand that it was not the best of the first chapter, but there was like some hope where you have actually sees Asta as a real best friend, like pretty much like brothers, because I mean, yeah, they're orphanage, they were technically be brothers by that sense, but still they were like genuine brothers. They really connect. And that was something different that we don't really see in Weekly Shonen Jump, at least, because every rivalry is always be bad mouth, hateful, angry, pretty violent. And yeah, that's usually the case. So with the series, now we're not going to that direction. And then there are the other twists that comes around it. So yeah, I think it's best to say when you think it's going to go that route, think again. That's the moral of Black Clover.
And there's no better way to describe it than that. Which, Yeah. Well, we can go on and keep talking about what we think it happened, but right now the direction is endless. The quote unquote end game, we are approaching it. For, like I said, flashbacks. A well worth needed flashback, if I'm being perfectly honest, which I never thought I would have said. I'm like, huh. And the benefit is, none of it's been repeated. Or if it has been repeated, it's from a new perspective.
Hmm.
Because usually in a shonen manga, it's like, oh, you get these flashbacks, and if they get repeated, it's like, oh my god, we've seen these flashbacks over and over and over and over and over again. Can you please stop with the repetitive flashbacks? Give us something new for a change. But here, Tabata's like, look, I know the fans will get tired if I use these same flashbacks. So how do I take this in a different approach? Have it from another point of view. It's interesting because it's like, yeah, they've been kind of similar in terms of what the flashbacks have been, but we're getting a different perspective on the matter, and I think that is the biggest selling point. Not even the biggest selling point, but the biggest positive I can give for the use of how to utilize a flashback that's been used throughout the story, but in a different context, a different spin. What about you, Sparta?
Yeah, pretty much like you said. It's pretty much. It's funny because like they say that for one series, but this is a series that actually does that more so than the other series. They like to point it out, which is I don't know if it's ironic. I don't know if it's misguided. I don't know if it's the case, but yeah, I mean, again, when you think you know where it's going, it actually goes to a different direction. Maybe the path will end up being, maybe the outcome will actually be the same thing, maybe not, but in terms of storytelling and narration, it does have alternative route that you hardly see in a lot of Shonen Jump. At least for me, because even as a person who reads tons of it, current ones, you see the path, and it actually goes to the path that you predicted. Trust me, I seen it, and it's. I mean, like I don't mind it, but it's not as fun when you either least expect it or have a twist to it. Like I'm not saying you got to be unique. You got to do something different. If you do something different, then you end up being a great manga. I'm not saying you got to do something different. But with Black Clover, whenever it does a little twist, it has a better rewards in there because it kind of begs for a different reward. I mean, granted, you probably would say yourself, "Well, your expectation for the series is so low. Anything could be good. Anything that's different ends up being amazing." You could try to argue that, but I beg to differ because this arc has been such a stellar so far. This is the arc that a lot of people has really turned heads and just say like, "Man, this series has been hype." I always see comments about it, like and I'm not saying if I'm like, "Oh, you of course you're gonna see it in their subreddit or their forum posts." It's like, no, I see it from like other places like that doesn't even have that's not even just about the community of his own series. It's like you can see it for different community, like just a general community of anime, manga.
And there is
You see that,
genuine chatter about it too.
yeah, and then even when if it's like its own focus subreddit or its own focus community forums, whatever. You look at other series, at least for me, I look at other series as like they don't talk about hype, but they talk about like they either meme something, like memes, like oh there's new memes, say a punchline, or to just say something that's like oh that was a neat chapter or whatever. But when it comes to Black Clover, it's like man, it's so hype, man, I love this chapter, man, I'm in teary. I'm not crying, you're crying. You see a lot of reaction towards it because a lot of people are really invested. And that's awesome. I like people that invest in the series. I mean, I don't mind get a laugh or two with memes and all that stuff, but I like to have a real discussion. But these people are really hype about it. I'm hype about it too because I'm just being surprised one after another. I mean, it's like again, it's not because it's so original, but a little alteration, like a little adjustment can really make a difference.
It really.
And that's the case with Black. Yeah, it's like in wrestling. In wrestling, there's this guy. who was a writer that pretty much wrote a lot of things during the era where wrestling was super hot. And I mean like super hot. The rating was like off the roof. It was like the most popular thing in the 90s, in the late 90s. It was that red hot. And now you have this writer who has like some crazy idea for storyline, and they definitely are crazy. But you have a filter who is the boss. He's the filter. He changed something, and as some of the story is still crazy as like what the hell, like at WTF moments, it makes it highly entertaining because of his adjustment. If he didn't do any filter, it would have been awful. So I wouldn't say like it's similar to Black Clover by saying like if you did the exact same thing, it would have been an awful series. It's more like if you do the exact same thing or do the same path, there'd probably be some good rewards. It'd be like, oh, it's a good chapter. But then if you do a little adjustments, you end up getting a better result. Now I can't say every adjustment is always ends up being the best result, but more often than not, it's definitely has resulted a better outcome, and I really enjoyed them because it's it's like it's like it's hard to describe because again, it's not unique, it's not original, but one adjustment can make a huge difference, and that's the best I can say. Why I'm enjoying this series so much as of now.
And I can definitely agree with that 100%. And in saying that, I do look forward to seeing how things are going to come to fruition. Whether it's the end game of the arc or it comes to the flashback, I am looking forward to seeing what Tabata is going to do, what he's going to showcase. This potential gathering that we're both thinking is going to happen, more than likely is going to. It's going to be something to really look forward to. But until then, you guys, I think that's pretty much it for the Black Clover podcast. Sparta, it was really great having you on board for another Black Clover podcast, as it's always been.
Oh yeah, I know. It's great to be here as always. I was happy to be part of it. I was happy that you invited me once again for another discussion of Black Clover. I was happy about this chapter, and I'm just psyched for the next one. I just cannot wait for the next one. Again, once again, this was one of the. I guess you could say. I mean, like I haven't read every other series yet within the Weekly Shonen Jump, but this is definitely like the top three easily that I read this week.
Sure.
Um, because it's just like, man. I mean, I already did a lot explaining, but you get the idea from our standpoint. Like, we just like this chapter a lot because of these twists and turns, these explanations, these characters. Everything about it has been solid, and we can only imagine it gets even better with the next chapter. Tragic, yes, but it will get better nonetheless in terms of quality.
That quality is gonna keep shooting up and up and up, like when we do reach the finale, and give or take like 5 years, we're gonna look back and it's going like, that was a series. It's my guess. My guess.
I hope for the best.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Everyone, knock on wood. There.
Yeah. There you go.
The seal is done. And with that seal being done, that's all we gotta say. I'm Lucky G7.
Sparda3g.
And we will catch you guys next time when Lumiere has to take out the demon god. Peace.